This is real American values in a golden foam that's made with parts that are entirely from other nations, not in America. It's so American first that they had to drop the initial promise of this phone that an estimated 600,000 people shelled out clams for that claimed it was going to be made in America. They had to pivot off that because it wasn't. It couldn't be. It was impossible to make that device that they initially made.
First, the Swarm from Northern Ireland. This now welcome inside this
favored nation.
and we're underway in round one. That jab ready to score. He threw a punch and just got down. That uppercut just missed. Caution, going to the win. This fighter does everything behind the jab. Your opponent has got to watch out for that. Nice counter shot. That right hook won't score.
Momentum continues to shift.
Skill for skill, tap for tap, slap and match made in heaven.
He missed with the jab. This fighter has a very good loss record and will be tough to beat. No rest for the weary. Oh, and just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, it's a knockdown. I don't care how good the jab is. A punch like that, and you're going down. Shot from the guts, they say. Shot from the guts.
Let us hear what selling it's like the T1 device is your entry point. It's higher something that you want to see.
This brilliant display makes streaming, browsing, and staying connected.
You know, until I said something, I never really had a lack of confidence in my phone to do the things that I was expected to do. Kind of like the whole purpose is never fulfilling the purpose. So right now the selling point here is the phone functions. It doesn't do anything extraordinary, but it works. That's really what we're falling back on. Like, hey guys, look, it's late, but rest assured, be confident that this phone will do the things you expect your current phone to do.
Unlike many modern flagship devices, the T1 includes a 3.5mm headphone jack, allowing users to utilize their existing audio equipment. Capture sharp photos.
So it's plan B after being knocked down in the ring to make a profile.
Giving you few useful essentials for
There's the bell for round two. His eyes look pretty clear here, Johnny. How do you think he's going to do after being knocked down in the last round?
What a heavy knockdown. How are they going to come back from that? They staggered back to the corner. They've got to freshen them up and learn them again. Get back on point again. This round, you've got to coast the round. Don't get involved. Give yourself a minute to get your head to it.
All right, hook misses. Perfect counter lands. Wanted to land on the hook, but was not successful. Throws the jab, but it doesn't score. That counter punch caught him clean. You can tell he's stronger, but he's not faster. Beautiful counter punch. Good counter punching. And that jab just missed with the left hand. Just missed with that hook. Nice counter. Well, we know that nothing's been in so far, but how does this match get turned around?
Can't leave it up to the judges. It's yours.
There's the bell start round three. That last round was huge for him, Johnny. How does he keep momentum going?
My motto is, if it's not broken, why change it? Excellent last run, everything works. Wait for the reaction. Until then, keep doing what you've just been doing because you've won that hands down.
Every time they throw a shot, they get countered. It's knockout or bust for both of these fighters. How about that time counter shot? Every time he throws a punch, a receipt is coming right back. Big swing and a miss with the hook. Didn't land that jab. Which one of these athletes is going to be the first to get rocked? Not a lot of punch output, but thought there might be more action here. Has to be careful for that receipt. It's always coming. And he scores with the counter. Throws the jab, it doesn't score. You know the scorecards are going to be all over the place in this one. I promise you, all three judges here are going to give that round to you-know-who.
I seriously hope the judges catch it.
Here we go in round four. Who's going to land the first shot? Well, there's no doubt about who won that last round. Let's see what he lands for us here in the next one.
My motto is, if it's not broken, why change it? An excellent last run, everything works. Wait for the reaction. Until then, keep doing what you've just been doing because you've won that hands down.
Oh shit! And we could see an upset right here. That was the moment.
Recovery skills there. What a shot it was! Completely unanswered. There's no way to the finish this round. But look at that! Look at the movement. Look at the speed. Back on it. It never happened.
Halfway through the round, and I don't know who's got the advantage. Great stuff.
Perfectly matched. Skill for skill, tap for tap. Now this fight will say, you know what, I'm just that knowledge of you, and so I gotta respect both of them more than happy.
Beautiful counter shot. out of defense here at all. Swinging against the hook. Couldn't ride a script like this. This is like Rocky versus Apollo. This round's still up. The rounds with just 10 seconds to go. It's no secret who has the advantage after that last round. Let's see what they have in store for us on the next one. Back into the right on round 5. Well, Johnny can keep the momentum going here. That last huge round for him.
My motto is, if it's not broken, why change it? An excellent match run, everything works. Wait for the reaction. Until then, keep doing what you've just been doing because you've won that hands down.
Previously scheduled. Check on it.
Not a lot of punch output. Thought there would be some more action here. Those counter punches have to hurt. Not a lot of punch output. Thought there might be more action here. Pretty close fight here in this round.
So close, so close. How do you separate it? It's going to be a hard night tonight for the judges.
Maybe he's actually thinking about this. He's going to come back and, just change his tune a little bit. Maybe he'll stop ring. Conspiracy theories. You guys get the crap ready for this. You guys
Punch, counter punch. You'd like to see more action. Very close round. 10 seconds to go. As bad as boxing judging can be sometimes, there's no doubt who won that round.
We'll expand this round to see the
There's the round 6. That round was complete domination. Let's see if you can shake things up here in this round.
My motto is, if it's not broken, why change it? An excellent match run, everything works. Wait for the reaction. Until then, keep doing what you've just been doing because you've won that hands down.
exactly the same.
That counter shot lands. The jab doesn't quite connect. The straight right just misses. They exchange punches. The bravery being shown here is just incredible. You gotta like what you're seeing as we reach the halfway point of this round.
Still, tap for tap. Is that a match made in heaven?
Chance to. I think it's reasonable.
Straight right just misses. He's putting the pedal to the metal, but has to be careful that he doesn't run out of gas. A very competitive round with 10 seconds left. Pretty dominant round here. Let's see see how they respond here.
Because to do that is against what conspiracy theorist code of ethics is. The conspiracy theorist code of ethics. That's an interesting concept. Shane, I'm going to be totally honest. I don't even think you need to watch this video. If nothing that I have said in the 4 hours I spent talking about
Here we go, round 7. They've got all the momentum on their side after that last round. Let's see what they do.
My motto is,
It's not over to change it. An excellent last run, everything works. Wait for the reaction. Until then, keep doing what you've just been doing because you want that hands down.
Right uppercut can't find a home. Nice counter punch right up the middle. They have no respect for each other. The straight right just misses. These two are the perfect dance partners.
Perfect match. Skill for skill, tap for tap. Now this part will say, you know what, I'm just that notch above you. And so I gotta respect both of them more than equal.
Just as quickly as it slows down and heats back up. These punches coming from every angle. Perfect counter shot. Despite the judges' scorecard tree, there are no losers in this one. This is the time to put the trainer and say him in and say something special. This might really turn the tables. There's the truck round it. Not the start of this, but let's see what they can do in this one.
That was a tough last round. Now he's going to make sure he puts his head on. That's what he's going to try and do. So tie him up, hold him, lean on him. Don't get drawn into a fight. Not yet, not until your senses come back. There's a counter shot.
He misses that jab. Incredible work rate. Nice counter shot. With the halfway point, both of these fighters know the round is still up for grabs.
They're so close, so close.
Oh my God, Johnny! So much for defensive ability. How did they not go just in that? Where was the defense? And they're down. It looks like this one's going to be over. Everything looks like they're slow. Let's take a look.
Even I'm going to see that again. Where
Shane,
did
you're
that
actually
come
correct
from?
about that. There are many dinosaur bones in museums that are around the cosmos, but they found still alive. And as you probably know, there's actually a very interesting reason for this. But something tells me that you're not bringing this up to tell that very interesting reason. You're bringing this up to try and make it seem like dinosaurs are bones. Right? This is a pretty run-of-the-mill dinosaur style strat that I've seen quite a bit. So dinosaur bones quickly turns into dinosaur bones are fake, which very quickly turns into dinosaurs will never exist in nature. It's a very bizarre strategy, but since you can't rely on your people to actually explain this to you, I want you to inform them. So why is it making it?
So they're back on their feet. Let's see how much they have left in the tank.
That is a show of character. When you look down, you'll read those
Final 10 seconds here, and this has not been his round for sure. And at some point, the corner needs to decide we have to protect our fighters. You've got to wonder how big of a factor that knockdown's going to be we just saw.
If you put down, you've got to think right.
And there's the bell for round 9. Got to get the momentum shift coming their way. What can they do here?
What a knockdown. 1 minute, you need 1 hour to get over a shot like that. Now it's down to conditioning. Now it's down to mental strength, preparation. It's how you are going to do it.
When are we going to see a check from these two? Catch and shoot. Both of these men showing exceptional chins, by the way. Has to be careful with that receipt. Whoa, wait a minute. What a shot. We've avoided the catastrophe there.
3 days now needs to steady the pace. Get the pace back to normal.
Those who thought this would be a mismatch, you are sorely wrong.
Skill for skill, tap for tap. She's like a match made in heaven.
This fighter extending a lot of energy in this round. And he wasn't ready for that counter punch. Well done with that counter shot. Swing and miss with the right hook. Good counter punch. Every time this round will go either way, 10 seconds to go. After what we saw in that last round, it's pretty obvious who has the advantage here. Somebody don't wait. It's round 10. This fight has been very one-sided. What are we going to have in this round?
Todd, my motto is, if it's not broken, why change it? An excellent last round, everything worked. Wait for the reaction. Until then, keep doing what you've just been doing, because it's one hands down.
Nice counter punch. Looks like he's going to move around the ring a little bit more. Try some sticky moves. Nice counter shot. The straight right just misses. Nice counter. Deciding to let it all in here in this round. Both fighters landing in these exchanges. Judges going to have a tough job.
Perfectly matched. Skill for skill, tap for tap. Now this fight will say, you know what?
Oh my God, Johnny! Oh, and they got rocked! What a moment this is! A true champion knows how to get out of trouble after they get into trouble, and it appears the onslaught is over, at least for now.
His defense, his defense is everything because they got shot once and they need to get caught again. So for now, just defense, work for defense, work in the submission.
All hands on deck. We are witnessing an upset in the making. This round's still up for grabs with just 10 seconds to go. Do you believe what we are seeing? Outside of this legendary unanimous one.
Yes, feel like the safest insight to the rules. Instead, you're doing dinosaur The dinosaurs. Checkmate, paleontologists. Crazy move to just be a science denier by just citing, like, really, really, really outdated science. This argument is just so fucking stupid, and it's just a profoundly weird thing to do.
On China's calendar, they have 11 common living animals: hogs, goat, chicken, fish, snake, and then there's a dragon on there.
This is a little nitpick, Shane. I'm sorry to do this to you, but there's no fish on the Chinese calendar. This would have been a really easy one to check. Like, this doesn't even require, like really Googling. This is just like looking at an image of it. I thought maybe that he mistook the snake for a fish, but then immediately after saying fish, he says snake. So I guess not. This doesn't really matter, but I figured I'd say it because, I mean, what? Am I going to start caring about the fucking runtime of these videos now? I told you, I'm in too deep. Dragon bones. I'd rather be dragging my bone across broken glass than keep listening to Shane talk, frankly. I'm so sick of seeing conspiracy people using, like, other cultures, like, folklore and, like, belief to support their, like, anti-science bullshit. And I think it's especially ironic in this case, where, like, I have a sneaking suspicion that the thousands upon thousands of Chinese scientists who have been at, like, the cutting edge of science, technology, and engineering and math for hundreds to thousands of years would not be super keen on this guy bastardizing their folklore in order to try and walk humanity back into the dark ages. But hey, Shane, you know what? Don't let me yuck your yum. If dragon being on the Chinese calendar is enough for you to believe that dragons existed, you're gonna love this one. Check this shit out. The Boston State House has a unicorn on it. Wake up, Shane. You're talking about the wrong issues. There's unicorns out there right now. You gotta hop on this, Shane. No one else is talking about this. Why is it that there's a unicorn in the Boston State House? Is there something that they're just not telling us? You see, unicorns historically have been a sign of fertility, but today,
men's sperm counts are lower than they've ever been.
hey, that was actually pretty good. See, Shane, I'm starting to learn your craft pretty damn well.
So all these bones were considered to be dragons. So this guy came up with the term dinosaur, and now they tell us that they're hundreds of millions of years old. But
This guy came up with the name, and now they tell you they're hundreds of millions of years old. Yeah, Shane, that's called a scientist discovering something and then giving a name to the thing that they discovered. What planet are you from? If you wanted to try and, disprove the field of paleontology, I would first suggest you maybe begin with learning something about it, because I don't buy it may be a good enough argument for your brainwashed flock, but over here in reality, you're going to need a little bit more than that.
how do they tell you? Like, how do they know they're hundreds of millions of years old? Well, this is where the science gets a little bit shaky. One way is they use absolute dating. They use radiometric. They basically detect the decay of elements, and they tell you how old it is based on that. However, when they did radiometric reads on the lava that came out of the St. Helens in Academia, it came back between 350,000 to 2.8 billion years old, fresh lava, which called into question the reliability of this method.
Oh, God. Okay. Quick little thing here again, Shane. So I know I'm nitpicking you, but I gotta do it. There was no lava at Mount St. Helens. Mount St. Helens is a gray volcano. And so it had mud and ash and like a pyroclastic flow.
Hi.
We know this because there are people who study volcanoes and they know a lot of things about them. And you can reference the things that those people have learned about volcanoes in order to understand reality better. So Shane really loved this talking point. You'll remember that he brought it up in part one. In fact, we already had none other than Kate Larson, a mainstream geologer and a wonderful geology communicator here on social media. And to talk about why what Shane is saying here is absolutely crazy. Okay, let's have a quick little look at the comments of this video, because they're great. I'm saying this forever, and I'm a philosopher. I find it really hard to find these inconsistencies I hear from the science community. That is actually a good level. Not stating shit fossils. Actually, this might be a very good fossil hunter, but finding fossils is the easy part. Understanding it is the thing you actually need to study. Again, people have been finding fossils all the time. They attributed them to dragons. So you just finding fossils did not give you the authority to say that you know more than people to actually study them. Kate stated, I hope I operate a cell phone. That does not mean that I know everything about how a cell phone works. Hey, dude, I only noticed this after filming, but I didn't really get it. But this fucking comment was by Fishing Garrett. You're like Kim on Instagram where you saw me following while I was able to say you wait. Yeah, that is the guy. Yo, Garrett, if you're watching this for whatever reason, I literally view you as like an up-and-coming Steve Irwin till I saw this. This is like mad disappointing, dude. You teach about ecology and wildlife conservation and biology, and people listen to you. You got a massive amount of influence. So how are you going to be doing all that, being a wildlife science communicator, and then denying science? What is that about? Look, I know you're so I'm sure the indoctrination runs a little deep down there, but I promise that you, with your levels of expertise, should have absolutely no problem challenging this part of your view. So, dude, me and all of us here, I love know that shit, right? You can do better than this. I believe in you that you can do better than this. I can't believe it. I'm shook. The true history of our realm is stranger than fiction. The truth is slowly being revealed. Appreciate all the content, Shane. I know this isn't the point this person is trying to make, but they're actually right. The true history of our realm is fucking incredible. And we are now slowly starting to discover it because we have science. We are finally challenging the dogmas of blind faith with objective science and reasoning. And we're learning all kinds of really interesting things. And you'll find that if you dig into some of these real and interesting things, you'll learn things that are real and interesting. So ask, what would be the actual point of denying dragons and making
Tigil na
them
kayo sa
dinosaurs?
karapatan.